All right, this video is another release from my Blender Octane community. Somebody was asking about one of my past renders on how I was able to achieve this moldy, dirty, grimy look inside of this jar. So I broke down the scene file for him, and I actually have the file uploaded in the community. If you're interested in downloading the file, it will be available for community members inside my Blender Octane community. Links down below. Who am I? My name is Patrick LeVar. I've been using Blender Octane for the last 3 years and sharing all the knowledge I know about Blender Octane here on my YouTube channel and also in my private community. So if this is something you guys are into, let's join whatever, but check it out. Here's the video. Peace. Hey Patrick, I would like to know the name of the material that you've got there that you use for adding dirt. Believe it or not, it's just a gradient map. It's a gradient map. I'll break down the file for you. Check it out. I actually just went back and found that file. I'm glad that you brought this up because the original file, that the picture that you saw there, I don't have the dirt map because I didn't save it in Blender. Like in Blender, you literally, once you're doing texture painting or any type of paint on, you have to save that file individually. So the first time I did that render, closed the file, came back the next day, and all the dirt was gone. And I realized, oh man, I didn't save the file. So I had to resave the file. So I did a second render and I opened it up today. And this was the V2 version, basically. It wasn't the original version. So what I also did was I took this version and started playing with it a little bit because I was like, ooh, yummy, yummy. So I actually I updated with the real lens camera lenses now. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. And I changed the HDRI because I didn't like the HDRI I was using. And I changed the ground texture. So that's all I pretty much did. But let me show you the breakdown. I'll show you the material that you wanted to see. This is when I was using my laptop. So I was using this very simple denoising setup, literally taking the AI denoiser, the normal denoiser that comes with Blender, and running that through at very little bit, like 0.2, mixing the original version. Oh, that's a lens distortion. Oh, I don't even know why I'm using the lens distortion. I have to take that out of there too, right? I was using the denoiser, a little bit of a mix. So let me show you. I'm getting sidetracked. This was a fun project. This was my 30 days of spheres render. Like I actually, I'm gonna get back to that, man, because I came up with some really cool stuff when I was forcing myself to do something every day. Here was the texture pack image. You had to do a texture paint, right? And here is my texture paint. I think I used a brush. I think I was using a brush from Quixel Bridge, to be honest, because that's when I was using Quixel Bridge at that time. So I was using the Quixel Bridge brush to do the painting here. And yep, it was probably one of those water. The texture that you're interested in it's a very simple material. I'll break it down for you. Let's actually fire up the render while we do this. And I have real lenses on, so I'll need to turn that off so we can see. This was the base. I'm gonna go full screen. This was the base specular material. I just used the base specular material, had a roughness in there with the noise pattern on there, just to give it up, break up the cleanness, right? Here's the whole setup. You can see the top is the mask and the bottom is the grunge. So we got a mixed material on the first one here. I got this was the paint map that I was painting on to paint the water, dry the dirtiness. And then here was the texture. I mean, just keep it simple, man. Look at it. It's just a diffuse material with a gradient map set to these grungy, dirty, moldy colors, like dark green, dark brown. That's it. I ran that through the ray switch node so that it would only appear on one side, like on the inside versus the outside. The ray switch node allows you to select what side it's going to be. So it's going to be like on the inside because this glass actually has thickness. So on the inside of the glass, you're going to have this dirty color that I was painting here. And that's why this is all set up here like this, okay? This is to allow me to paint on the inside. So the ray switch is just colors going through there. And then the second one here was another mask, and this was fingerprints. Yep, just a fingerprints. And on the fingerprints, you can see it's just running through a specular material here. And that's just, actually, I probably should have used a gradient or a diffuse material on that now that I go back and think about that. But anyways, this was almost 2 years ago. This was in 2023, August. So I ran that through a specular material, which I don't know why. But those were fingerprints. And then I added another dirt mask on top of that. Here's another mask, mud mask. And again, just the same colors, just a little bit more leaning towards the browns and doing the same thing on the inside. It's the same node setup here, just copy pasted and dragged it over here. But it's just gonna be I'm using a different mask to paint that out. So let's go back and look at this and see if we can isolate this here. Let's go and isolate that there. Okay, that's looking good. Now what I want to do is isolate this background so we can see it. Can we just go into camera and just come down here to alpha channel, alpha background? There we go. And let's kind of get an angle where we can see this dirt really well. So there it is. Now, if I come back here and if we just view Let's just solo. Here's our straight glass mix. That's it. Nothing special. Specular glass. And it's got the reflection of the HDRI. That's why we see this color. This is the reflection from the HDRI on there, okay? That's why we see this color. And then we have this mask here, which I painted in. Here's the first mask. Again, white reveal, black conceals, or black conceals, white reveals. I don't remember. So I think I might actually have this inverted. There is our mask. And now let's see what that looks like mixed with the glass. And there it is. Now you can see how we can see like it looks like it's on the inside, right? And that's because I'm using that ray switch node. And there it is. That's just painted that grime in there and using these colors here as the mask, okay? Then we go to the next one, and this next one was, I don't even really know if we can see it. Oh, okay, here it is. And look, you can see at that time I wasn't doing well, I still don't do it. UV unwrapping it, like I don't even think I used mesh, yeah, but I don't see any seams on it. I don't think yeah, I didn't even UV unwrap this, right? But anyway, so we can see an ugly seam right there. But anyways, yeah, that's where you need to start UV unwrapping. So there's some smudges. And then we've got, let's see what that looks like. And I can see them slightly. I can see them ever so slightly. Okay, so it's subtle. Take that back. That looks good. Then we got another mask up here. And this mask is a mud mask. And this is, again, another very subtle mask. Look, it's very subtle. Very subtle. Just a little bit of mud. Yeah, these are definitely from the Quixel Bridge brushes. Definitely, because I remember this mud splat, because I actually used that on a different project. So let's go ahead and look at that. And if I show you the colors, this is what that looks like. Look, this is what that looks like. It's just a diffuse with these colors in here, right? And then we come back and plug that in. Now we're mixing that. So that's all of them put together. And that's how we get that grimy look. I mean, that looks absolutely fantastic, right? Look, that's how we get that grimy look. Let's let that come in for a second. And boom, there it is. And then the color wrap is just allowing me to add more different variations of colors in there. And again, like I try to keep it very simple with materials, especially at this time I was using my laptop on a 1080 or 1040 or 1050 Ti. I was like barely able to run Octane. So everything I had to do, I had to always keep that in mind. So I used a lot of just basic materials. Like I tried to stay away from PBR 4K materials because it made things tough for me. So prime example here is just a diffuse material with the color ramp in it. A lot of times I think it's better to keep it simple. And that, me working on that laptop helped me when I got to my bigger system here that I can handle running all these I still don't do it to this day. I still always think, okay, what's the easiest way? Like, yeah, I could use an image map for this, but this is getting the job done just as better to me. Like, and plus it's way more better on the resources and keeps my renders running a lot more cleaner and faster. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle, because they like, oh, why is my rendering taking so long to render? Well, you got all these 4K materials, and this object's way in the background. It's barely even seen. It's being blurred out by high depth of field. Why have that as a 4K image? Get it, reduce the seam optimization. And working on that lower end laptop really engraved seam optimization into my body, into my system, into my workflow. So when I get to a bigger system, I'm still thinking like it's a low end system. And that's why I think I can get really quick render times, because I like to do animation. So I don't want to wait 3 minutes for one frame. I rather wait a minute versus 3 minutes. Okay. So that's a scene file. That's pretty much the materials. That's it. Like that's a basic. There's nothing too crazy. And then the wood material, I actually think the sphere inside there, I think I actually did use an image map on that. Let's go ahead and release this. Let's grab the sphere and jump into there. Isolate the sphere. Now the sphere, again, look at me, not using any type of, not doing any unwrapping. It's all pinching, but that's okay because I hit it. It wasn't in view. So what was the point if it's not in view? And I think this was another free image that I've got from like CG Textures or something like that. Yep, there it is. That's it. Basic old wood single image. And I think I ran that through the texture displacement. I ran that through the texture displacement at 4K. So literally like that was it. And then the original render, the ground plane was another diffused material with noise on it. I just added in a Quixel Bridge material on it today. Like it did not have that original background, but even that looks good. Look at that. That looks great. And I actually cranked up the displacement a little bit more heavier because we're looking at it through the glass. Okay. So it was like the glass really softens it up. This ground material, I just added this in today. So this wasn't even included in the original. So I got two PBR materials in here. And actually, this could probably be turned down too. It's a little bit, it's looking a little too good there. It's looking a little too crunchy. I'm going to go ahead and divide that by half. I like it to be subtle. I don't want it like this floor is not the star of the show. The jar is. So like I don't want that to be distracting.